You're watching Footy Fantasy. It is your steady thing will meet your football needs. Banter from rivalries, he sure you go receive. From EPL to Champions League, your eyes go see. It's Footy Fantasy, fantasy.
Let's move on to, I guess, probably the most controversial topic going around. And it's good that we had, like other fans talk about this because this has pretty much split our fan base. Even in my group chats, wow, it's gotten so bad, this topic, that some of them are keeping quiet. They're not talking anymore. They know themselves. Oga Kwame, I'm going to call you out. They're not talking anymore because of all of these issues that are going. So, Rashford, well, I guess I'll give a background. Rashford, it started from, I think the whole thing started from when Amorim came. I think they gave an interview to Amorim. Gary Neville was asking about, like, oh, what are your thoughts on Rashford? Casemiro going to New York, blah, blah, blah. Amorim was like, nah, it's fine. They're grown adults. Like, I have no problem there. It's the club that allowed it. That's where I think that started brewing. That's where it started brewing. It's the club that allowed it. But now that I'm here, like, there'll be changes, but it's fine. I have nothing against them. And after that, he played Rashford a couple of games, bench coming. I think he even scored like 3 goals under him. Like, he was playing him. And then all of a sudden, Rashford was not in the team anymore. Him and Garnacho was dropped for the derby last weekend. Like, oh, what's going on? And it's like, oh, like, they trained very well. They trained this morning away from the team, but I had to make a tactical decision. See, but I have no problem with them. Then obviously a couple of days later, Rashford goes and gives an interview when he was doing one of his events with Henry Winter and says, I need a new challenge. Like Pogba-esque from a couple of years ago. Says he needs a new challenge. And since then, it's nowhere near the squad. So that's the quick background for anybody that wants to catch up on thoughts on Rashford Saga at United. It looks like Henry is jumping at the bit for this one. Henry, I'll let you kick off this one. What are your thoughts from the outside looking in?
I'm not jumping at the bit. First of all, some people were already saying, "Oh, he should come to us." No, we don't want him. Let him just stay with United. But regarding the saga, I think first of all, this whole new social media age, I don't know why people don't understand that. Sometimes just shut up. Like even if you have personal opinion, do you really think your fan base, the coaches, all those things, you think they don't pay attention, or do you think they don't get reports on like what's going on, or like someone that keeps like that has their hand on the pulse, like to figure out where the thought process sometimes. And I think Amorin is one of probably those patients that look at the slightest things that go on, right? I don't also know. Wasn't there also another dimension where they were like there was an incident where he was coming on, he took off his glove, tossed it like on the floor instead of handing it over. Wasn't there another incident like that recently?
Yeah, when he got subbed, I think it was the game against his last game he played was Europa League game that we came back to win. Yes, he was frustrated and he
yes. So the question is, there people are going to see, a lot of people are going to see things like that. Even fans that really appreciate you and appreciate everything you've done, when it becomes, because remember, a lot of fans are fickle, right? You're only as good as your last performance, right? They will forget every single thing you've done in the past, and they're only going to judge you solely on the last few performances. And let's be honest, the last few performances, he hasn't been like, I've heard people who, that have been calling for his head, like, hey, you're not as incisive, you're not as this. And again, it's a tough time for United, right? Because United is also trying to figure out the direction that they want to go with, the culture of the players, the structure, the style of play that they want to adopt, right? So the question now becomes, do these players fit those? Excuse, I apologize for my daughters at the back. Do these players fit the style of play that the new coach wants to employ? All right, so sometimes these coaches too are smart. They're smart. Okay, let me test the waters. Maybe it's a good time for me to even maybe find a way to ship him, see how much we can make from him, and then build. Because a lot of United fans too are already tired of a lot of these players, Garnacho, Rashford, because they know what they can do, and it just seems like even their play is inconsistent, and they don't feel like going forward they can contribute as much to Manchester United anymore.
Rashford is the second most expensive player at United, earning $300,000 a week. and it sounds like the production isn't there. And so, if your production isn't there, you're making that much money. There's always going to be a movement to try and push you out. Especially if you can get more value for significantly cheaper, and someone that may be deemed as wanting to listen and learn more than Rashford. I don't know if Rashford is listening to the systematic changes that Amarin is trying to bring in. Amarin Ball is going to be a little bit different than your previous coach. So all of these things are factors that need to be played. But the fact that he's on 300,000 pounds, not even dollars, pounds per week, and the production isn't there, uh, the Wolves are always going to come around. And if I'm going to be a betting man, I wouldn't be surprised if that isn't part of the motivation. How much longer does he have on his contract?
Oh, to 2028, a long contract.
2028. That's
Yeah,
another thing. I think he signed a new contract in 2023.
yeah.
So which is funny because remember that's the point Ayatu was making. Because I've been thinking, I have this weird theory that these players, right when their contract is about to expire, they ball out of control, and then one because Martinelli has done that scam to Arsenal before, and then once they sign, it's like they go. I'm like, what's
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. It's true. It's like going back to the question about Salah earlier. One of the reasons why I don't think it's going to happen with Salah is because Salah is chasing after something else. He's chasing after
They tried
legacy.
to sell Rashford. Unknown to a lot of people, they tried to sell Rashford last summer. They did try to sell him, because Ten Hag was having issues with Ten Hag too. They tried to sell him last summer. They couldn't sell him, apparently. So I think it's a bunch of okay, like you said, underperforming assets who's getting £200,000. Okay, let's move him out. Then because of the new PSR rules, that's pure profit to the club. Now,
Yeah.
this is where I'm going to talk. I won't talk about where I think everybody's fault lies. From Rashford's point of view, in my opinion, I understand it's the new age. They have a branding team. They have their whole management team, all these players who manage what they say, and they have to defend themselves. I'm not saying they should not. I'm going to say from my opinion, picking back on what Henry said. I think sometimes, like you said, in all these situations when you're trying to move, speaking out has never helped you. In this context of, big, huge fan base, maybe smaller club, yeah, but huge fan base, you're underperforming, speaking out has never helped. Even when the player is performing, speaking out has never helped them. Till today, probably one of our greatest players in Premier League history, right? Cristiano, if not the greatest, Ronaldo. A lot of United fans, including myself, still hold on to how he left the first time, right? Speaking out, it tarnishes his image with us. Speaking out has never helped anybody. So I'll put that one aside. That's the first thing that I think is a flaw there. I think the second thing that's the major on Rashford's side is this idea of he took so many things to heart too much, and maybe that was not a blame. Maybe that just his sensitive person. Like every time he score, he do the celebration, like almost like I need to prove everybody wrong. Right said something about that, and it was very, very poignant when he said this. It's like, why does Rashford have to prove why do you have to prove anybody wrong? Why don't you prove yourself wrong? Why do you have to prove anybody wrong? Why don't you prove yourself right? Like bet on yourself, play the game, and just do it internally. Like, why do you need to apply that external pressure of you proving everybody wrong? Just do it internally. You work hard, everybody knows you're a great kid, great lad, like decent human being. Don't add that external pressure. And that was a great point. And I wouldn't have formed any better. Just piggyback on what Ian Wright said. So those are the two things I see as fault on Rashford. But I think without a shadow of a doubt, majority of the fault falls on United. Because I've been one of the people, this is from the days of Pogba. Bola knows now, the big group. I fell out with a lot of United fans during the Pogba time, especially black United fans like me that couldn't understand what was going on. Where I was like, guys, yes, Pogba has his fault, but can't you see what's going on? This is ridiculous. Like the attack on this player, singling them out. The job of United's management has provided so much instability that talent has not flourished during this process. A lot of talent has come and died at United. A lot. From Pogba to Lukaku's to Sancho to now Rashford. Like there's so much instability. Talent has not flourished. That's the first thing that's ridiculous. Secondly, that's very ridiculous. Our ex-players in the media. Like somebody just sit down with them and guys, it's okay that these players are not as successful as you guys were. It's okay. Fergie is not here anymore. It's okay. It's okay for you to say players are good. They are not great players. It's okay. You don't have to make everything an attack on their personality, on their lifestyle. It doesn't have to always be like that. It's okay. I know people are mad that we're not winning titles. It's fine. Liverpool went 2 years. I remember, like, I'm an old head. I watched Premier League for over 30 years. I remember when we were dominating and the whole Liverpool legends be on Sky Sports killing Liverpool players. I was there. I remember it very well. So it's like a cycle that's turned around, that's flipped now. It's okay for you guys to just relax and stop this attack on the players. Now, the last one for me, from a financial, using ball as KPIs, from a financial management point of view, you're trying to sell a player, but then you are briefing against that same player and saying, you're telling the whole world, the player you want to sell, you are briefing, questioning his lifestyle. Bro, my people, how are you going to get value? You are diminishing your assets that you have publicly that you want to sell. It makes no sense.